The trailer for Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes is finally here, and we're gonna break down this entire trailer. I'm just gonna go over everything that connects to the book the film is based on, as well as how it relates to the original Hunger Games books and movies, so there may be a few spoilers, so you've been warned. Now, let's get into it. The first shot shows the Academy, which is an elite secondary school in the capital where only the most wealthy and powerful families are able to send their kids. Snow of course went there, but going there caused a great deal of stress for him because his once wealthy family no longer had any money, but he continued on as if they were still wealthy. You can see the Capitol logo on top of the building and in the window, and what I imagine are celebrated Capitol members from the past on the statue as well as painted on the wall. You can also see a lot of people in red, which is the uniform that the Academy provided for its students. If you look behind the school, you can see the city being rebuilt, and the reason for this is that the city had been torn apart during the Dark Days, the war between the capital and the districts, and that war was what implemented the Hunger Games. That's how the capital punished the districts for what they had done. In the next shot, we have another view of all the students in their red uniforms watching the event, and we also have the Academy's logo up top, which I really like with the arrows. We then see Dr. Gall, played by the brilliant Viola Davis. That was a great casting choice. And Gall is a character that takes Snow under her wing, tests him, and is really the one who helps create the monster that Snow would later become during the original books and movies. Here we see the 24 chosen students who would mentor a tribute for that year's Hunger Games, and you can see Snow right here. We then see Dean Casca Highbottom, played by Peter Dinklage, another incredible casting choice. As the trailer says, he created the Hunger Games.
I am honored to introduce to you the creator of the Hunger Games themselves, Dean Casca Highbottom.
And you can see him drinking from a vial, which is actually morphling, the painkiller drug that Joanna got hooked on in the original series, and it's also the nickname given to the District 6 tributes from the third Quarter Quell in Catching Fire. Highbottom is dangerously addicted to this drug in this book and is known for always being high. In the next shot, as Highbottom walks up, you can see a marble slab that says Heavensby, because this is a wing called Heavensby Hall in the Academy, and it was named after and also funded by the wealthy Heavensby family, which of course ties back to Plutarch Heavensby from the original series. That was his family. In the next shot, you see Snow, played by Tom Blythe, another great casting choice. He has Snow's classic blonde curly hair and bright blue eyes, both of which Snow got from his late father. The shirt he's wearing in this shot is noteworthy because they were so poor they could not afford a nice shirt for this event. So his cousin Tigress, the very one who helped hide Katniss and company in the Mockingjay, revamped one of Snow's late father's shirts to make it look presentable. And her doing this hints at her fashion genius, as she would go on to be a famous designer in the capital when she got older. You'll also notice the rose on Snow's shirt. This was given to him by his grandmother before he left, and she grew roses as a hobby. Snow of course ended up wearing roses just like this as he rose to power years later, but later in life it was not for fashion but rather for convenience. He wore it to cover the stench of blood coming from the sores in his mouth caused by the poison he would drink and then spit out when he poisoned others. That was his MO as he rose to power. Anyone who got in his way, he poisoned them, and he drank the poison too to throw off suspicion. Next to Snow in this shot is Clemencia, another student mentor chosen, and they had a nice bond throughout the book as both of them got the District 12 tributes. The next shot shows everyone watching the reaping, and I love how the technology is a little less advanced than it was in the original series, given that this took place during the 10th Hunger Games, so it's 64 years before the one that Katniss volunteered for. On each TV, we see the District 1 tributes that were chosen, which was Fawcett and Velverine. Then we see our first shot of Lucy Gray Baird, played by Rachel Zegler, another perfect casting choice in my opinion. They knocked it out of the park with the casting. The way that Lucy Gray walks with such confidence is spot on to her character. Zegler did an amazing job with that. You can also see her famous rainbow ruffles on her dress, which was a big hit in the Capitol and made her stand out. She's of course in District 12, as you can see from this sign, and she's the tribute that would be paired up with Snow. I love how the Peacekeepers' uniforms are very dated compared to the original series, and I also love how old the camera looks in the next shot. They clearly put a lot of thought even into the small details. Also, in this shot, they perfectly encapsulated that line of Lucy Gray standing out like a butterfly in a field of moths when compared to the rest of District 12. In the next shot, you see Lucy Gray bowing to the crowd, just as Katniss did in both the first and second movie, hinting at both of their rebellious streaks. The next two shots show all of the tributes in a vehicle, and as you can see, they're all looking at something. And this was actually Snow that they're looking at. He impulsively decided to ride with them while meeting Lucy Gray at the train station, and this is where Lucy Gray earns his trust by protecting him from the other tributes. We then see another shot of Snow in the academy on a different day than the Reaping, as he's wearing the red uniform given by the school and not the shirt that Tigress made him. After that, we see Snow at the train station, and this actually takes place right before he went in the vehicle with the tributes. At the train station is where he met Lucy Gray for the first time, and as you can see, he brought her a white rose that he had taken from his grandmother's garden. You'll also notice the academy logo on Snow's pin. The line from Highbottom here:
as a mentor, Mr. Snow, your role is to turn these children into spectacles, not survivors.
References the fact that the Hunger Games had very little viewers the past few years, and they were hoping that the mentors from the Capitol would add spectacle to this Hunger Games and hopefully get them more viewers. And he also advises Snow not to grow attached to his tribute, which is exactly what Snow goes on to do. The next few shots show the mentors and tributes going to the arena where that Hunger Games would be played, and here they all got a tour. We then got a shot of the older style TVs, each depicting a tribute, and this is actually where the 24 mentors would watch the Hunger Games. As you can see, some chairs are missing, and this is because some of the tributes had already died, so those mentors left. And this is also depicted on the TVs that have no faces. Those are the tributes that have died. We also have Lucky Flickerman, the first ever host of the Hunger Games, another way the Capitol was trying to revamp the games to get more viewers. Lucky Flickerman is also a descendant of Caesar Flickerman, the host of the games during Katniss's time. After that, we get another shot of the Academy, as well as more of the city that's clearly being reconstructed after the Dark Days, and if you look really closely, you can see who I believe is Snow running in. In this shot, this is the arena that we saw earlier, and you can see each tribute on a red circle as the games are about to begin. Lucy Gray is once again wearing the rainbow dress, and shockingly heels as well, which is quite the choice when you're about to fight to the death. You can see the arena is sort of destroyed even though the games haven't begun yet. This is because it got bombed during the tour the tributes and mentors went on earlier. We then see a choked up Tigress as she watches the games, and she's played by Hunter Schafer. I mentioned Tigress earlier as Snow's cousin who he grew up with, and who of course appears in the original series. We then see a shot of Lucy Gray in the arena during the games, and Snow telling Lucy Gray to run. Run! The very advice Haymitch gave to Katniss and Peeta when they started their games. We get the classic long shot of the game starting as all of the tributes move off of their starting points and run to get weapons or run in the opposite direction, a very similar shot to the original series. We then see Snow alone with just Dr. Gall as she begins to almost groom Snow to become the monster he would later become. I also love the one blue eye they gave her, it's very Grindelwald-esque. In this shot, we see drones flying through the arena. These were originally in the control of the Capitol to give supplies and such to the tributes, but the District 3 tribute Tess Lee reprogrammed them to do her bidding instead, and as you can see, they're going after the other tributes. This next shot shows Lucy Gray hiding while in the arena, most likely near the end of the games, as a lot of her strategy was waiting things out. This shot of Lucy Gray, Snow, and Sejanus running is when Snow and Sejanus broke into the arena in the middle of the games, and you can see them being chased by who I believe are the District 4 tributes Quirrell and Mizzen, but the male could also be Bobbin, the District 8 tribute, or Tanner, the District 10 tribute. In this shot, you can see who I believe is Reaper, the District 11 male tribute, and I think this is the scene where he covers all of the dead tributes' bodies, which is depicted behind him. This is even more clear as you can see him taking down the Capitol flag, which he did during this part in the book. He ripped the flag apart to make himself a cape and also to cover more dead tributes, which the Capitol citizens were not happy about. After that, we have a shot of District 12, which depicts this poster showing their industry of coal mining, which is probably the hardest industry to have out of all of the districts. I believe that this is when Snow is shipped off to District 12 when he becomes a peacekeeper, so he's probably on this train. We then see Snow with his military haircut and dog tags after joining up with the Peacekeeper Army. I think this is the scene where he joined Lucy Gray and the Covey, her group of friends that was almost like her family, as they all explored past the boundaries of District 12. And this just so happens to be where Katniss and Gale would go hunting during the original series. This line from Lucy Gray,
"There's a natural goodness built into us all,"
is taken from the book with a slightly different line, as she says to Snow, "I think there's a natural goodness built into human beings," telling him that he wasn't a monster for killing people because he did it to save her. The next part of dialogue changes a bit too, as the trailer has her saying,
We can step across that line into evil or not.
Well, the book says, you know when you've stepped across the line into evil, and it's your life's challenge to try and stay on the right side of that line. Both the dialogue from the trailer and this quote pretty much mean the same thing though. Lucy Gray is trying to justify Snow killing. In this shot, this is Snow when he got arrested for cheating in the Hunger Games, and he's being brought to Highbottom, who would punish him by sending him off to be a peacekeeper. These next two shots show Snow in the arena, and I believe that this one is right after he killed Bobbin, which was his first ever murder. That would make sense, as it perfectly goes along with what Lucy Gray is saying in the dialogue. It then cuts to a shot of Snow while he's a peacekeeper, and my god does he look like Eminem here. We do know that he loses himself, so... my god, that was a terrible joke, I'm so sorry. We then see peacekeepers carrying a badly beaten person who I believe is Spruce, a rebel that Snow had met in District 12 and who Snow was involved in a murder with. The look on Snow's face when he sees him depicts absolute worry, and that's because Snow knew they would be close on his tail about the murders he was involved in with Spruce, and right after this in the book, he decided to run away with Lucy Gray. In this shot, you see Snow very upset about a letter he was holding in his hand. I believe this is the letter from Tigress that told him they were losing their apartment in the capital because they could no longer afford it, meaning that the Snow family would be outed and disgraced for being poor, which they had tried to hide for so many years. After reading this letter in the book, Snow was actually contemplating suicide, so the performance here is actually spot on. This next shot shows the climax of the book after he and Lucy ran away, and I think the gun he's holding was the murder weapon that he and Spruce had used. This scene takes place right after Snow was arrested, and this is where Highbottom punishes Snow by sending him off to be a peacekeeper, and this incredible line,
You hear that, boy? It's the sound of snow falling.
is taken right from the book. I'm so glad they added this, and Peter Dinklage delivered it perfectly. This is another shot of Snow going out of the District 12 boundaries with Lucy Gray in the Covey, and this is most likely the same field that Katniss and Gale sat in at the beginning of the first Hunger Games film. We then get more shots of Snow and Lucy Gray bonding after he was sent to be a peacekeeper in District 12, and this is when the two really fall in love. We then see Lucy Gray performing with the Covey in District 12, and when you see Snow smile at her, I believe this is the moment in the book when they had seen each other for the first time since the games, and for this moment in the book, Snow actually teared up when seeing her. This shot of Lucky Flickerman and Lucy Gray on TV was her interview before the games, which we of course saw a lot of in the original series, but this was the first time they ever did this. For her interview, Snow prepared Lucy Gray to sing a song, which is why she has her guitar. Also, Lucky is a savage, as he says it's her final performance,
For someone's final performance.
implying that she's going to die in the Hunger Games. We get a glimpse into a conversation between Tigress and Snow, as Snow tells her that everything is about winning.
Everything is about winning.
Which is the same mentality and mindset he has while president during Katniss's time. Behind Tigress, you can see all sorts of cutouts and drawings, which of course hint at her passion for clothing design. I thought that was a really nice detail. You'll also notice how beaten up their apartment is behind Snow, showing that they couldn't afford to fix their place after the dark days because they were too poor. This shot depicts Dr. Gall taking Snow and Clemencia to her tank of snake mutations. These snakes were also sent into the arena during the Hunger Games, and they were what Snow used to cheat to help Lucy Gray. We then see Sejanus freaking out while watching the Hunger Games, and this is because his assigned tribute Marcus, who was also his former classmate when Sejanus lived in District 2, had his body strung up on a steel pole for everyone to see when the game started, and that's why Sejanus calls everybody monsters.
You're monsters! All of you!
We also see Dr. Gall's reaction and see just how evil she is as she laughs at this. Honestly, I would argue that she's eviler than both Snow and Coin during the original series, so I'm excited to see Viola Davis bring that to life. We then see Snow being taken through District 12 by peacekeepers, and my guess is that this was toward the end of the novel when he was heading back to the capital. For this next shot, I believe this is Snow in Sejanus' mansion at the capital, and this is where he met Sejanus' father, Strabo Plinth, for the first time, who played a big role in Snow's success in politics later on down the line. After that, there are a few shots of Snow training to become a peacekeeper, which he of course did in District 2. As we know from the original books, District 2 was the place where all peacekeepers trained, and was also where most peacekeepers came from. Most of them were citizens of District 2. We get another shot of the capital city, again with a lot of construction going on in the background to fix what the Dark Days had done to the city, and you can see Snow walking up to a giant statue in the middle of the capital, and I believe this comes from the end of the novel dubbed Snow Lands on Top, most likely coming from his final meeting with Highbottom. This shot then shows Lucy Gray in District 12 herself holding a snake, and she's showing it to Maud Ivory, I think, Lucy Gray's cousin and the youngest member of the Covey. We then see Snow watching Lucy Gray, and I believe he's sitting outside the cabin that the Covey frequented, which is also the same cabin that Katniss's father showed her a little bit before the original series, and that popped up a few times during the events of the books. We get a line of dialogue from Snow played by Donald Sutherland in the original series, as he says,
It's the things we love most that destroy us.
Which is a line taken from Mockingjay Part 1 when he said this to Katniss during the Capitol rescue.
It's the things we love most that destroy us.
I love that they reused that line because he probably learned that very message because of the events that happened in this movie and book with Lucy Gray. For the title, we see a snake fighting a mockingjay, which represents the struggle between Lucy Gray and Snow, and also Katniss and Snow later on down the line. And there you go, a full breakdown of the first trailer for Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes. I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments below. Tell me what your favorite part of the trailer was, and if I missed anything, point it out to me below. I'd love to hear it. That's all I have for you guys today though, so I will see you in the next video. Thank you so much for watching, guys. I hope you enjoyed the video. You can follow me on Instagram to see more of my personal life, like my cute dog Loki, and some behind the scenes movie flame stuff. I also do similar content on TikTok and Twitter that I do here on this channel, so if you like what I do here, check them out. All the handles are right below me, and links are in the description. Over here are my wonderful patrons. If you want to be featured on the next video, plus get a few other perks, become a patron today. As always, if you liked the video, hit that like button and subscribe, and look out for more great movie flame videos on the way.